Big Ray's Wrestling Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Big Ray's Wrestling Show. You know me. I am the Mark of the Masses, the man with the plan. Big Ray here to stay to talk some, well, the state of pro wrestling today. And I am joined, not by my Can-Am brother from the north, but I am joined, that will be Andre Corbeil, but I am joined by the Professor. You can follow him on Twitter at
Professor PW Hustle. That's PROF PW Hustle.
And we are also joined by Billy Ray Valentine. Follow on Twitter at...
You can follow me on Twitter at Billy Ray Hustle.
And making his return to OneWrestling.com after a sabbatical in parts unknown, it is Bill Schuyler. You can follow him on Twitter at...
You got the show.
You got the show. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Now, we do know the Professor hasn't paid his light bill yet, so it's very, very dark. So he'll be talking to us from the deepest, darkest parts of Africa, like the Ugandan, what was it, the Ugandan warrior, Kamala?
Well, I actually, Big Ray, I'm on a date right now, and she's in the other room.
Nice.
So, you know, I'm just trying to keep the mood going.
Very sexy, man. Now, I mean, you're on a date, and she has no problem with you being on the show?
No, she knows what to do.
That's the way things work over in Bombay, New Jersey.
Bombay.
I'm keeping the Luther Vandross music down, so you know, so I can do the show right now.
Schuyler, how have you been, my brother?
Surviving. Make my way back to the wrestling masses, and I've been out of action for a while, but I'm here and I'm ready to get back into the squared circle.
All right, very cool. Now, listen, guys. What we're going to be discussing here at OneWrestling.com, every year I do this. I've done this for the last 2 years or last 3 years, and basically midway, just before WrestleMania, we always do a state of pro wrestling. Now, usually I do it with Andre Corbeil. I'll have a couple other guests, and we have a full panel tonight. And we're going to ask your opinions. You can leave your opinions here at OneWrestling.com or YouTube /OneWrestlingVideo. Or, again, you know our Twitter handles. They're going to be listed here below in this video. So just, you know, hit us up on Twitter and give us your opinions on the state of pro wrestling. But we're going to give our opinions, where pro wrestling is going, where we think is what's going to happen next, so on and so forth. We're going to start with these smaller, I guess, companies. I'm not going to call New Japan one of the smaller companies, but we're going to work our way up to the WWE. And Lou, or Billy Ray Valentine, you actually was thinking about, now this is not pro wrestling related, but this sounds really cool. We want to get the OneWrestling.com family involved, and we're talking about the fans here, who are obviously family. You were talking about a fantasy football league.
Well, yeah, you know, as everybody knows, fantasy football season is upon us. Not the football season, the fantasy football season, which is the only reason I watch the NFL, is because if I don't have anything invested, I'm just not going to watch. So I figure I'm already in 5 fantasy leagues. I figure, what's the difference? Let's do one more with, you know, the One Wrestling audience. It'd be awesome if any of you guys out there that are wrestling fans are also fantasy football fans. Hit up Big Ray. Hit up somebody. I don't know. We need to come up with some way to be reached, I guess, on Twitter or something. And that way we'll start a league. We need a few people, and you can play against the whole One Wrestling family. Schuyler, are you going to be down, Schuyler?
We'll probably work that out. We're going to get a Shiva trophy.
Oh, sure. We'll think of something.
Yeah, what's
fans of the league? Nobody?
We'll get a replica, what is it, Andre the Giant.
Oh, no, I got even better.
Go.
You know what we'll do? You know what we'll do? We'll get, like, you know how the Oscar is that golden statue? Well, yeah. I'm gonna get a mold of Bill Apter.
Hell yeah. That would be amazing.
The Bill Apter Award given.
The first ever
Bill Apter Award. And speaking of Bill Apter, I'm gonna ask you guys something. Is pro wrestling fixed? Anybody have an answer? Professor?
Pro wrestling is fixed? I did not know that. I thought it was 2 combatants going at it, you know, tooth and nail for, you know, 20, 30 minutes.
No. The answer is I didn't know it was broken. Yes, Bill Apter's book will be coming out. The book signing is in October, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be there at Legends of the Ring. I'm going to be interviewing some of the biggest stars in professional wrestling along with Bill Apter. It's going to be pretty cool. All right, guys, so let's just jump into this. And I'm going to go round robin, go back. Again, you guys know the rules of this. You know, no talking over each other. Respect everyone. Now, I'm going to jump on to the first topic in professional wrestling. Let's talk a little Impact Pro Wrestling, TNA Wrestling. Billy Ray, your thoughts on TNA Wrestling as it is right now, where you think it's going?
Well, it's going off of Destination America, most likely. You know, to be honest with you, it's going to be tough to gauge where TNA is going. I don't think we really know as a you know, pro wrestling watchers, observers, and fans where it's going to go or how it's going to evolve. Hopefully, they'll find another TV deal. I don't think they're going to be on Destination America. As far as the product goes, they've really watered down, and not watered down, but you know, a lot of the talent is different now. They've got a lot of the talent has left TNA, and you know, they're restructured contracts, trying to stay alive. I think it's a good thing for them to do that, to stay afloat. We don't want TNA to go anywhere. We want more. I think that's the theme of the state of pro wrestling, is more, not less. And we need a legit number 2 to actually combat the WWE and bring back, you know, that aura, that mystique, that incredible thing that we had for wrestling back in the day that we don't have anymore.
Well, that's funny. I'm going to ask the professor before I jump to Bill Schuyler. We're going to save the best for last. Professor, now, a legitimate number 2. I mean, is TNA considered a number 2? I mean, it's a legit organization. A lot of people have been saying that they've been demoted to an indie organization. I kind of disagree with that. What are your opinions on that?
Well, technically, because I guess with the international deals that TNA has in all other countries, Australia, Brazil, and so on and so forth, they are considered the number 2 organization because money is still coming into TNA because of those deals. Now, the hard part is, as Billy Ray said, the Destination America deal makes it hard because after, I don't know if it's the end of September or beginning of October, that's when the deal cuts off. So then they're dormant and they don't have a TV deal yet officially. So, you know, once those deals, you know, once they get a deal, hopefully a Netflix deal, maybe a Hulu deal. I've been saying that on the PW Hustle podcast. But, you know, TNA is still number 2, but just barely.
And you know what?
Is right behind.
That's a great idea. That's what they should be shooting at. TNA. They should be looking at Netflix. They should be looking at Hulu and try to get content on those venues, those platforms, and maybe produce original content for them. And that way, they don't necessarily need a legit TV deal. That's a great idea.
So, Bill Schuyler, it looks like you're about to explode because I could feel the explosion about to come out here now regarding TNA. Now, pause. Now, with I guess you guys get that. We are a PG site. So, Bill Schuyler, now with the in-ring product, now I know you have a whole bunch of different opinions regarding TNA. I can see it in your face. I don't know if you're gonna trash it. I don't know if you're gonna give it some life. But I'm really interested to see or to hear what your opinion is on TNA wrestling. Go for it.
This is the thing. I've been a TNA fan for a long time. And every year you would always have the doomsayers coming out saying it was going to go. And that was just the haters talking what they had to do. And they always managed to make it through another year and get better, or at least middle line it.
Right.
This year that changed. And the loss of the Spike deal and Dixie Carter's loss of control of the company, in my opinion, has left it a ghost of what it once was. Wow. It's a shell of a company. There's not one original member left of the TNA roster, which is not a big deal per se, as long as you were replacing them with a full roster. They barely have a roster to put on a television show, which is going to make it hard for them to get on TV. And I see somebody just shutting them down. I can't see. I agree with the fact that they have become an indie promotion with just a little bit of extra credit here and there throughout the world because of their deals, but somebody like Jeff Jarrett has already gathering up and making his moves with Global Force and working with other companies across the board regardless. I like the way their direction's going, and TNA is just seems to be falling further and further away and losing more and more people, and not just on camera, but behind the scenes as well.
Well, now, really quickly, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I have to jump in and ask this question now regarding TNA Wrestling and regarding the fact that I mean, you pretty much say that there's a doomsday in the future of TNA. I'm going to ask Billy Ray really quickly. And Billy Ray, in what way do you think TNA can be saved? I mean, you do have superstars that wrestle for TNA, like Bobby Lashley, like Kurt Angle, the Hardy Boys. You do have a decent amount of superstars that you can kind of build off of. I mean, what would you do if you were Billy Corgan, Dixie Carter, so on and so forth?
Well, talent has never been an issue in the history of TNA. They've had some of the greatest talent walk in and out of that company. And even with the current exodus of talent that's left, they still have a ton of talent in that company. So that's not the issue. We can make great wrestling with the Wolves, with Lashley, with whoever's left over there. They're all top-notch wrestlers. What I would do is, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, stop trying to compete with the WWE. I would be my own, completely and totally, go off and produce a different product. What that different product is, I'm not saying go out and be Lucha Underground. I would like a straight-up wrestling promotion. But competing with the WWE isn't going to get you anywhere at this point. And if we're going to survive, meaning TNA, the best way to go is start something completely new.
Well, I mean, do you agree with that, Professor? I mean, he's talking about a company like Lucha Underground, which I want to talk a little bit about also, and then now we have Ring of Honor, that you know, they're not really doing that great on Destination America either. I mean, for the hardcore wrestling fan, Lou, I mean, Billy Ray, you have something to say?
Oh, okay. After Professor chimes in, I just want to talk about ROH, or can I do it now real quick?
Professor's up to you.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
As far just one point about ROH, that they're not doing great. I mean, in the great scheme of things, yes, it's not the greatest numbers, but I don't think any legit television producer was expecting more than what they're getting. If they were, they should be fired. ROH was never that company to produce massive ratings. I think with the little bit of promotion that they've been getting by Destination America, they've actually done really well, considering they're pulling in anywhere from 150 to 170,000 viewers per episode. And now the latest one, I don't remember what it was, but 2 weeks ago was 170,000 at 11 p.m., which speaks volumes. I think the product can be built upon. I think there's momentum there. I wouldn't say they're doing badly, considering the situation that they're in and how they're being promoted. That's all.
Okay, Professor.
The only thing I agree with Billy Ray, I don't have an issue with TNA when it comes to talent. I mean, we can go with the roster: Kurt Angle, Bobby Lashley, the Wolves, and so on and so forth. The talent is not the issue for TNA. The issue is management. And I hate to say this, even though Dixie Carter probably loves wrestling, loves the brand of TNA, but she needs to sell her interest of TNA and give it some fresh blood to somebody. If it's Billy Corgan, then fine, but someone needs to take TNA full stake from Dixie Carter, from Panda Energy, and give it a new look, maybe change the name, a new direction. That's wow. What TNA needs.
All right, so Bill, now, if you're selling TNA Wrestling, now a lot of people want Jeff Jarrett to buy TNA Wrestling, but I don't think he has the money or the financial backing to do that. Do you see a savior for TNA, or do you think that eventually Global Force Wrestling, and again, I want to move into Global Force Wrestling also, Global Force will be taking a lot of that TNA talent once that company, if it ever does go under?
I say 100% behind that. Jeff Jarrett is going to take most of this roster as their contracts expire, and if it's not them, it'll be NXT or Ring of Honor. The guys are jumping ship. They realize now that the future is very bleak for the company. It pains me to say that because they were at at a breaking level, not just but 3 years ago. In my opinion, they were really ready to make that jump, and they just lost it. And as far as Jarrett not having the money, he had the buyers and the people behind him, and the only thing that was holding them back was Dixie Carter. She had to be on television, or they wouldn't sell the company.
Billy Ray?
That was her father's deal.
All right, so what I'm going to ask Billy Ray, and I'm going to go around. So would you say, regarding the state of pro wrestling and Impact Wrestling, do you think there is a possibility that TNA will be around to see 2016, or do you think this will be the end of TNA Wrestling? Billy Ray first.
So with TNA, it's not the greatest possibility that they'll be around, but there's a decent possibility that they'll be around. I know Billy Corgan is working on, or at least is rumored to be working on, trying to get them a deal with WGN in Chicago. Billy Corgan is very well connected over there, and that's a possibility, another avenue for TNA to possibly live on a network. But even if they don't land a network deal, they can still survive on a very different level. They'll be a different company. It's not going to be TNA as you know it. It's not going to be business as usual over there, but they can still survive on a very basic level. And I think they're trying to make waves for that. They're trying to make avenues for that, which is the way they've been restructuring contracts and you know, bringing in talent on a pretty much come and go basis, you know, and maybe that's the future of TNA. They can still survive. Will they survive is a totally different question. But can they still survive? Yeah, there's still hope. It's not a dead issue. Will they is a different question.
If no one else has anything to add regarding TNA, I mean, does anyone have anything to add regarding the company?
I just got to, you made the point by saying it with that, having wrestlers come and go that aren't really part of your roster that you pay on a regular salary, that's an indie promotion. That brings in big names for shows, yeah. And then they don't even have the ability now. Their pay-per-views don't even sell.
Well, you're absolutely right.
They have to restructure all that. They're everything. I mean, maybe even if they were to go to YouTube or something like that and have it's going to be totally different, and it's going to be a lot of younger guys and then older guys with bigger names coming in. It's basically going to be like it was when it started.
You're going to have to start thinking outside the box. I hate saying that term because everybody uses it so often, but it's absolutely true in this case. They're going to have to think of different ways to try to stay afloat at this point.
Right. Professor, anything to add before we move on?
That's a guarantee that they're not going to be on Destination America after October, in the professor's opinion. So after that, I don't know where they're going to be.
All right. So right now, the way what I gather is that it looks pretty bleak for TNA Wrestling. I mean, we do have great fans out there that really love the product. Again, I've always been a big fan of the product. I started reviewing that was actually what I started reviewing for OneWrestling.com when I first started about almost 4.5 years ago, or whatever it is. And you know, I would love the product to thrive, but again, my personal opinion, I'm not sure that they have the financial backing or right now the TV deal to move forward. So will TNA survive? It can survive, maybe as an independent promotion, a very popular one at that. But speaking of borderline independent promotions, I want to quickly move into Ring of Honor Wrestling. Ring of Honor. Now, you know, we've seen Chris Sabin show up there. Speaking of guys like from TNA, you know, you have Chris? Not Chris Sabin. What were these guys?
Addiction.
Bad Influence. The best tag team in the business. Another former TNA talent. And then who is the TNA? Who is the world champion there now, guys?
Jay Lethal.
Jay Lethal, former TNA talent, and it goes on and on and on. ROH, Ring of Honor. I haven't really had the chance to really watch it as much as I would like. There's something about it, me personally, that I don't enjoy watching on TV. I'm sure live it's a lot better. But I'm going to start with the professor. The state of this company, I actually think they're in a better state per capita than TNA at this point in juncture. What's your opinion?
Well, going with what Billy Ray said about the ratings, I think you saw the flaws of Ring of Honor when Destination America had them on the 8 p.m. slot, and the numbers weren't there for Destination America to keep them at the 8 o'clock slot when it was drawing about 150,000, maybe to 170,000 fans. So, you know, the corporate bottom line is not a good look. But for cult-like fans, hardcore fans, those are good numbers when you put it on the 11 o'clock slot, number one. And number two, the talent there is good. The matches, as you say, Big Ray, is better when you see it live. I think there's not enough drawing power besides maybe Jay Lethal and a couple of people, because they always have to bring in talent on a maybe pay-per-performance basis, like you saw with Chris Sabin, and you see with a couple of New Japan stars like Nakamura and Okada coming in when they do those tour shows. So, you know, once ROH builds the next crop of superstars in their brand, like they've done a couple of years back when they had CM Punk, they had Daniel Bryan, and so on and so forth, then Ring of Honor will be in that cusp of being, you know, the legit number 2 again. But it's going to take a while for it.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I was going to make a point about that. I'm going to bring it to Bill Schuyler and then maybe Billy Ray. With Ring of Honor, I've always had an issue with Ring of Honor, and this is the issue I have with Ring of Honor. It seems to me, and if you watch their TV intro, who do you see on their TV intro? It shows all the past superstars, like Samoa Joe, like Daniel Bryan, like, you know, I mean, they show their past. And as my son joins me here, he's supposed to be sleeping, but what are you doing, buddy?
I like your shirt.
He's got a good shirt on.
Oh, okay. But basically, Ring of Honor, I always feel focuses more on their past than what they have now. Like, they sell their past. They sell that CM Punk came from Ring of Honor. They sell that Daniel Bryan came from Ring of Honor. They sell that Samoa Joe came from Ring of Honor. I mean, why don't they sell their gotta beat my son up. Why don't they sell why don't they sell
Let's give Aiden a Ring of Honor contract.
We might as well. Why don't they sell their superstars as they are now? Excuse me one second, guys.
All right, no problem. Hey, listen, with Ring of Honor, right? I think personally they're not selling their not that they're not selling their superstars. I think it's very smart that they're showing all these old superstars in their opening role. It reminds people, or it reminds some people, and for new audiences, it lets them know that these wrestlers that they're watching now in the WWE originally started out in ROH. So what you want to do is you want to watch ROH, you want to see ROH for the new talent. You know, you see Kevin Owens, who's lighting it up in the WWE right now, or was for a while. You know, he came from Ring of Honor. You know, CM Punk, who is the indie wrestling god, right? He came from Ring of Honor. Daniel Bryan, who is another indie wrestling god, he came from Ring of Honor. El Generico, Sami Zayn, he came from Ring of Honor. What is his name? Cesaro. He came from Ring of Honor. Seth Rollins came from Ring of Honor. I would emphasize, I would drill that. You know, that's a rich past that they have. I would just keep pounding it and pounding it. I'm like, hey, look, these people came from here. And then, of course, emphasize what I have. You know, the new talent that's there in Ring of Honor. Professor, then Bill Schuyler. Cool?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Well, I agree with you, Billy Ray. I mean, I'm not saying that it's a flaw to not bring up the past. You have to bring up the past. The audience is not all there. Some of those are casual fans who've never heard of the product Ring of Honor in the first place. So you have to remind them who've only watched WWE programming that these guys did come from Ring of Honor. I am not saying don't forget your history. I'm just saying it's going to take time for, let's say, Red Dragon, Adam Cole, the Kingdom, you know, to be like the core guys that you want to pay your hard-earned money to see. They're almost there, but, you know, ROH needs, like Big Ray said, their new crop of stars for a reason to pay, you know, to pay your hard-earned money for. You go ahead, Bill Schuyler.
Really quickly, I'm going to interrupt you guys really quickly. Guys out there that are watching this, I just want you to know that we're having issues with the internet with Skype. So if you see us cutting in and out, I don't know if I mentioned it when I first started, but it may be a really rough video to watch. It's the content that we're trying to focus on. And also, it's not easy being a dad, you know, when your son's supposed to be in bed about an hour ago, and I had to tuck him back into bed. So So we'll just move on. Go ahead.
Hey, just to catch you up, Ray. I said that I thought it was a smart move that ROH did that to draw new audience in and remind them that that talent came from ROH. That's pretty much what I said. The professor gave his thoughts. Schuyler's going to give his, and then we'll go to you.
But really quickly, before Schuyler gives his thoughts, what happens when those fans start looking for talent like that? Because Schuyler, Bill, I don't see anybody on that roster that pops to me like a Danny O'Brien or like a CM
I got something
Punk
to say about that. All right, go ahead.
or Samoa Joe.
Well, I don't think you have a. I would say that you do have some guys like that. I think Red Dragon, not necessarily O'Reilly. I'm a big Bobby Fish guy, and he's got a ton of charisma. He's somebody that needs to be directed. That's the thing that Ring of Honor doesn't know how to do, because they concentrate on selling old videos or DVDs, Blu-rays, and the like for the past. They make a lot of money off of that, a lot of merchandise sales, because they are an indie company and they run it that way. They run live shows. They make their money. You want to have fun at Ring of Honor, it's not on TV. It's at the show. There's a major difference between watching that on TV.
Right.
When they went to National Cable being on Destination America, if they had the backing to make that their flagship show, where that would have been a different show than the syndicated one that went out, that would have been their major, like, you've got to watch this show on Destination America because you're not going to see it anywhere else, that would have made Ring of Honor step up to that next level, which is something they have never done. They just go ahead with the syndicated and run it. Sinclair doesn't seem to have the will or the desire to take them any larger than they are.
Absolutely.
And I think maybe it's a fear that they might get by sticking their neck out that much higher, that possibly the bigger fish in the pond, as in the WWE, may choke them out, which is something that's kind of just happened when they poked their head up on national cable, and I think they got smacked back down, not to
or are getting smacked
on the
back
name
down right now, yeah.
Yeah. But that's where Ring of Honor is, in my opinion, that's the problem that they have as far as if they want to make it to that next level. They're nowhere near being the number 2 promotion. And I think they're very happy with that. I mean, their owners and their management seem to be that way. When you had Jimmy Cornette came in there, Jimmy wanted to move it into a national television show. He wanted to run and make it go for it. They didn't go for it. They didn't want that. He was not independent enough for them and their fans, and they turned on Cornette and said he was out of touch. Well, he wasn't out of touch, just out of touch with the independent indie wrestling fan mentality that, well, we want to be in our little group and have our special, we don't want our guys to go to that next level because then they sold out. They're no good anymore and they suck. Even though they tell them don't go, all that stuff, then they sit and bitch and moan about them, when they make it to the WWE or if they went to TNA or even New Japan. You left us. Why? You wanted more money. Well, sure, they wanted more money, and they want to be superstars, and they want to be seen by everybody.
I mean, who doesn't?
That's
am I right?
It's all about.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, so that's what you want to do. You want to make more money. So no real wrestling fan is going to knock anybody from the indies from moving up and try to feed their families and themselves and by going to the WWE. Can I give my quick thoughts on ROH in general?
And then Professor, and then we're going to close out ROH.
All right, bet. I love ROH. I've loved ROH for a very, very long time. I've been watching them live here in New York, along with the Professor. We've gone to a lot of Ring of Honor shows together, a lot, for a long time. First one we went to was in 2005. See, the thing with ROH, right, I think they have excellent talent. What we need to remember is Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, Samoa Joe, and Kevin Owens weren't always household names. They weren't always those guys. How many people would have had the foresight to sit at a Ring of Honor show and say, this dude is going to main event WrestleMania one day? Daniel Bryan. No. I mean, if you did see that, you're a genius, man. I sat there and saw the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, put on serious matches with Kenta, and Samoa Joe, and I never once thought that I would be watching him main event a WWE WrestleMania at that. You know what I mean? So let's look at guys like Adam Cole, who the Professor's very big on, and the Professor spotted him on a long time ago. He said that Adam Cole would be the future of the business, and I agree with him. He could very well be that. Kyle O'Reilly, who you're not so big on, I love. I'm a big Kyle O'Reilly mark. He's a serious beast in the ring. I dig him a lot. We got the Briscoes, who are ridiculously good, charisma. The WWE has tried to snatch him up on several occasions.
What about that? What about Moose?
Moose is another one who's brand new, raw. There's a lot of great talent in Ring of Honor. Another thing that I really like about Ring of Honor is the actual programming, because it's so gritty. It's raw. It's dark. It reminds me of ECW.
But does that appeal to the masses?
Absolutely not. You're absolutely right. It appeals to 150,000. But back to what Bill Schuyler said, they're perfectly fine with that. They don't want to move on. And I'm fine with them not moving on. You know, are they in a better position than TNA? Of course they are. Even if they don't end up in Destination America after December, they still have syndication with Sinclair all across the company. I mean, all across America. You know, so they'll still be on television. Are they ever going to be this big wrestling domino? No, they're not. That's not what Ring of Honor is about. It's not what they've ever been about. And if you want to see good pro wrestling, straight up in-ring magic, you go to Ring of Honor.
Well, Professor, you have anything to add before we close out Ring of Honor Wrestling?
I just say, as far as the visual side of it, Billy Ray, the only thing I disagree with, I think Sinclair needs to look at tapes on YouTube of when ROH was on HDNet. I mean, the way it was visually captured and the way they had the interviews, the segments for that hour, I was drawn to that, and I think they would draw more fans to that. That's all I have to say about that.
No, I mean, you make a good point. I just like the darkness of it because it reminds me of ECW.
So more or less, really quickly, in 5 words or less, do you think Billy Ray, Bill Schuyler, and Professor, do you think ROH is in a pretty good state of wrestling at this point?
ROH is in a good position for ROH. I don't know if they're in.
I said 5 words or less, sir.
Okay. Clearly, I don't pay attention to Kevin.
Obviously not, Bill Schuyler.
Ring of Honor is in a great position, same position they've been in for years.
Nobody listens to me. It's like 8 words already.
Ring of Honor will continue.
Jesus. All right, you know what? Billy.
I think ROH is fine.
There you go. The Professor finally gets it right. No, but Billy Ray, finish your thought, and then Bill Schuyler, finish your thought.
Oh, that's all, man. I mean, I think they're in a good position for Ring of Honor. Like, really, as far as a number 2, everybody keeps talking about a number 2. We do not have a legit number 2. There is no legit number 2. There's no number 2. WCW was the last number 2, and then we were done with it. We need another major number 2. ROH is not that. I don't think they want to be that. I hope they stay afloat and keep providing me with great wrestling. I'm going to watch. 170,000 other people will probably watch. And if more people are exposed to it, maybe we could get to 300,000.
All right, Bill.
Ring of Honor, I think they're in a great spot. They got a great partner with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Also with, Noah. They work along with the whole Japan situation, just fuels that pure wrestling fan desire here in the States, and they'll make money. Their house shows make, they have what they need to make. The wrestlers they don't have multi-million-dollar contracts to worry about and big show budgets to pay for. And with that, they will succeed and continue to keep riding on. And I think I think they're happy with where they are, and they're not looking to jump there. They would have to have new ownership to come in to make somebody take them to that next level, and it's not Sinclair. It never will be.
Did you want to say something, Billy Ray, before we close out?
No, I agree. What's up, Professor?
Professor?
I'll just say this. ROH needs to be in existence for WWE to get new talent for the next generation.
Wow, that's a great way to end this and end the ROH segment. Again, I don't want to spend too much time on each individual, smaller organization, because we have the WWE left to talk about. But I do think that the Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor were really important to talk about because I think a lot of the talents are getting developed through those organizations and being brought up and I guess taken by the WWE. But then you have organizations like Global Force Wrestling, who nobody kind of knows what they are still yet, but it seems like they kind of know what they're doing, but I don't even know what they're doing. And then you have an upstart organization like Lucha Underground, which is more of a TV show, but it's putting forth some of the best freaking wrestling I've seen in years, and their 2-hour special was freaking amazing. So without spending too much time on these smaller organizations like Ring of Honor, I mean not Ring of Honor, like what was I saying? Lucha Underground, and what was the other one I said?
Global Force.
Global Force. I mean, just, what are some of your thoughts on this? And then we're going to move on to the two big daddies of them all. That would be New Japan Pro Wrestling and WWE. Go ahead, Lou. I'm sorry, Billy Ray. I keep calling this guy Lou. He looks like my brother Lou.
Don't worry about it, brother. The professor actually went to the GFW tapings in Las Vegas. So
no.
He would be
Sorry.
He would be the best outlet for information right now. Professor, I'm turning it over to you, brother.
Professor, just really quickly, when you were in the stands watching the wrestling match, did you get hit with a foul ball?
No.
Did you get hit with a Money in the Bank briefcase over the head?
Nope.
Okay.
Why?
I guess I was lucky, but
So tell us with with all the fans, the dozens and dozens of fans that watch the Global Force show, because I'm gonna be honest with you, before I even let you talk. I mean, I actually call it Global Farce.
Jeez.
That's what I call it, Global Farce Wrestling. I think it's crap. I don't see it as the modern day NWA. I have a lot of feelings towards this. I want Jeff Jarrett to somehow steal TNA back. I don't like this whole Global Force thing. I don't know where it's going. I don't like the fact that TNA is lending. It's just a mishmash of ugh to me.
You know what I like?
And hold on. You guys had your chance. I'm gonna say something. And now with Global Farce, and I'm shooting on this. With Global Farce Wrestling, again, Jeff Jarrett, I don't think deserves this crap of a company. Or I don't even know what it is. I'm just so disappointed, and I was expecting more. Number one, I knew it was going to be bad when I couldn't put a better Global Force graphic together with my paint program here on my PC. It's low budget for me. It looks low budget.
Oh, absolutely right.
I mean, you're headlining with Magnus. Magnus, really? I mean, I don't mean
Aldis.
I'm just at this point in juncture totally disgusted, and the reason I'm disgusted is because for me, I was looking forward to this Global Force Wrestling. They're gonna have guys from New Japan. It's gonna be a freaking unbelievable. They're gonna steal guys from TNA. They're gonna steal guys from WWE. They're gonna do nothing. They're gonna play. They're gonna freaking wrestle in a half-empty baseball stadium, minor league baseball stadium that only holds 6,000. I'm just disgusted by what I see so far, but I would like to know your opinion, Professor, on the state of pro wrestling in Global Farce Wrestling.
Well, Big Ray, you just said a mouthful there.
That's
about
what she
Global
said.
Farce. You know what? You're right. I mean, with the stadium shows that they've done, I mean, they've only averaged like about 120 fans in a stadium that holds about 7,000, and that's just and. Jeff Jarrett has picked places like Oxnard, Wisconsin, or something, where you have to drive all the way 2 or 3, 4 hours just to get there, and that's why you're not getting the fans to go to those shows. I mean, I traveled to Las Vegas because I wanted to see Global Force, or Global Farce as Big Ray has called it. I paid my ticket, and I've heard that those tickets were comped. So I don't even know if I feel cheated that I paid full price for my tickets, and it was comped for like maybe 500 fans. They did have more fans at the Las Vegas arena than they did with the stadium shows, but they cut the arena halfway. I mean, the Orleans arena holds 7,000 people. They cut it right down the middle to hold about 500 to 800 people. So if you One Wrestling fans go on my Twitter of Professor PW Hustle, you will see the pictures I took. Because my pictures are more accurate than Global Force's or Global Farce's Twitter pictures.
To quote the great Alanis Morissette, it's like a free ride when I already paid. Cheese and crackers. So you're telling me that you paid for free
Yes.
tickets, and it was still like 3 people there.
Yes. I mean,
And
like I
didn't get
said,
a T-shirt.
no.
What?
I didn't want the Global Farce T-shirt. I didn't like it.
I mean, all right, Bill Schuyler. Bill Schuyler. I mean, really.
I gotta ask you, just because you were there at that casino, the Orleans. I was impressed with that when I watched Ring of Honor's Winner Take All pay-per-view back a few months back. What was it like actually there for an event? Was it a good place for them to hold wrestling events?
Well, the difference between the Ring of Honor one that you're talking about is they went into the Orleans casino in the little convention center hall where it held an intimate crowd of maybe 100 to 200. It looked sold out. And a lot of people, where I was at the Orleans Arena, which holds, like I said, 7,000 people, we all said the same thing. Why didn't they hold it at the convention center where it would look filled, it would look packed, the energy would be right there? But Jeff Jarrett, in his infinite wisdom, wanted to be in the big arena and wanted to like prove to everybody that Global Force is to be reckoned with.
No, you said it right. Global farce.
Yeah. But
I will
like
say
you said, Big Ray, what is it? Nick Aldis? Magnus?
Yeah.
Yeah. He headlined my first show that I was there to be the main event.
And you know what sucks? I mean, you have a guy that's our buddy. Well, my buddy anyway, and Jamin Olivencia that's wrestling that's really busted his hump to get to a higher level above the indies, and I just feel bad. I just feel like that the guy is wrestling for an organization that seems to go nowhere. I just hope that potentially as he's wrestling for this organization, that maybe somebody would take a look at him and maybe bring him up, or maybe he can go to Japan and wrestle over there. But I'm just interested to hear what you have to say about this, Billy Ray.
Well, you know what? What can I say? I can't follow you guys. I can't follow what you guys just did. All I will tell you is this. Global Force Wrestling, I saw their website day one, and I knew it wasn't a good thing.
I thought it was the Home Shopping Network's website. There's a
Right.
QVC.
Listen, that's an insult to the Home Shopping Network website, okay? But
Man.
one thing that they did do right, they brought in the Bollywood Lions, the Bollywood boys.
Oh,
My
jeez,
boys.
crackers.
I love those guys. Those guys are
Best.
awesome. They should be in the WWE. They should be in NXT.
Oh, they will be.
They can't wrestle very much, but they're so charismatic. It's amazing. Other than that, I really have no interest in Global Force, and you guys summed it up.
Who's their champion?
I don't know.
They don't have it yet.
They're having a tournament right now.
A tournament
Yeah.
with and who's their roster?
Well, that's the problem, because I don't even know, because they're bringing
There
in
isn't a
people
roster yet.
like your man Jamin Olivencia. He might be on the August set of tapings for
Might.
the GFW Amped.
Might.
So it's hard to say, because what they did, like on the July show, they're splitting the roster, or you could say they're splitting the roster of appearances. Like Bobby Roode was there when I was there. The Bollywood Boys was there when I was there. You know, so maybe the August show, Jamin Olivencia might be there, or the Bullet Club might be there for the next set of tapings, and then I don't know who's going to be there for the September one. So Jeff Jarrett is trying to split up his talent roster, and plus, it's very expensive to have all of them in one show. So.
I just wanted to quickly run through this really quickly. I actually Googled
Oh, God.
the Global Force Wrestling roster. For some reason, this damn thing doesn't even load on my phone properly. But I have the Akbars. I have Andrew Everett, the Bollywood Boys, Brian Myers, Chael Sonnen, who I haven't seen do anything with this company, Chris Sabin. Chris Sabin's with ROH, isn't he? Chris Adonis, Chris Masters. I thought he was, I don't know, dead.
Chris Podetsky. Yeah.
Christina Von Eerie. Anybody know who that is?
No.
Colt Cabana. Colt Cabana is not signed to Global Force Wrestling. He is probably making more money off of his damn podcast than he is wrestling here. Davey Boy Smith Jr. I guess. Doc Gallows, isn't he with New Japan Pro Wrestling? They have Hacksaw freaking Jim Duggan on this roster. Jeff Jarrett, some dude named Jigsaw, Jim Cornette, Jimmy Rave, so far this is a full roster, right? Carl Anderson, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Kevin Cross, Congo Kong, Lance Hoyt. I mean, half of these guys don't even wrestle for this. Moose, he's freaking ROH. Mickey James, TNA, PJ Black, maybe. Scott Steiner. I mean, I don't even want to read the rest of these. Sanjay Dutt. It's like the Young Bucks.
Sanjay's a big player for them right now.
Who the hell is Virgil Flynn?
It's an indie promotion, bro. It's what it is, man.
Jeff Jarrett needs to have somebody controlling him just like anybody else.
Doesn't even load. You can't even see the whole page.
Yeah.
Anyway, the fact of the matter is that, in my opinion, I'm going to end with this because I don't want to talk about Global Farce anymore. In my opinion, it is what it is. It's crap. It's an indie promotion. I just hate the fact, and you know why I'm so angry? Because they made it sound like it was going to be the next AWA, or the next NWA, or the next WCW, or the next freaking EC, even the next ECW, or the next WWE. It's nothing more than an indie promotion that takes from other organizations all over the world. And when you're headlining, nothing against Magnus, because I like Magnus. I think Magnus would actually be a nice star in the WWE. I don't ever see him as a main eventer there. I could see him as a mid-card champion, but I just when you're promoting Hacksaw Jim Duggan on your roster, on your active roster, there's a problem. There's a problem. I don't want to waste time on this.
Okay, I got a problem.
What's your problem?
My problem is with Nick Aldis. And I was a big Magnus supporter from the first day he came out with his goofy helmet and the first gimmick they had him with. Loved him with the British tag team. All down the line. TNA champion, first one. Supported him back and forth on Twitter. He went to Global Force Wrestling and he blocked me. Doesn't talk to me anymore. I don't know why.
Why did he block you?
No idea. I've never had a crossword to say about him. Talk good stuff with him. Still, with his wife.
Did you say good luck in GFW?
Maybe.
He's probably he probably got to say he probably thought you were making fun of him or something. Because you wouldn't need good luck working for that organization, in my opinion. But anyway, let's move on. Do you want to talk a little Lucha Underground really quickly?
Well, Lucha Underground, man. They may have a second season. It looks like that might be a go, but they're trying to get more money to have better production. That's all I keep hearing. As far as the Ultimo, what is it? Ultimo Lucha? That's what it was called?
Yes, sir.
Ultima Lucha.
Ultima Lucha.
I saw bits and pieces of it, and what I saw was amazing. You know, the wrestling, some of the best cruiserweights in the world are in Lucha Underground AAA right now. I mean, so if you want to watch some great cruiserweight wrestling, go down to AAA in Mexico, or just try to find Lucha Underground. So if you want to find great wrestling and people, oh my God, Angelico, man, you know what I mean? Like these people are amazingly good. So I mean, it's not a prototypical wrestling show. It is a soap opera of sorts, you know, that concentrates on wrestling. It's a sitcom or a daytime TV show. Am I right or wrong?
I agree. I don't mean to be unprofessional, but I'm gonna go check on my boy, make sure he's sleeping.
Do your thing.
Bill Schuyler, or you can take it over for a few minutes, okay?
Professor, I know you've been watching Lucha Underground religiously. It is your thing. So give us your thoughts, and then Schuyler, you give us yours, okay? Go ahead.
All right, I'll be quick about Lucha Underground. I mean, I watched it religiously every week on YouTube. I don't get El Rey, so I found a way as a Lucha Underground fan to watch this. So that's what a wrestling fan's supposed to do. You find a way to watch the product that you want to see. Number one. Number two, I don't really watch AAA or CMLL like you do, Billy Ray. Mm-hmm. So I am a Lucha Underground fan, and I love the way it was presented. I was skeptical at first because of the way of the presentation of the movie style storylines that they were doing. But once I saw what they were doing, once I saw the direction, it looks original to me. It was consistent, and every match mattered to me. So it didn't matter on the bottom of the card to the main event. There was a reason. And Dario Cueto, being an actor that he is, you know, maybe he doesn't love wrestling, I don't know, but he was a great actor and filled a role for Lucha Underground. And he wasn't a heel promoter to me. He wasn't a babyface promoter. He was just a promoter that just wanted the money, and he didn't care how he got it. He uh, what's the word I could say? He played the heels. He played the baby faces. I'm trying to be PG right here. So, you know, he got his way. That's what I wanted to say. But like I said, Dario Cueto is a great character for Lucha Underground. And Ultima Lucha, that was awesome. I mean, Vampiro versus Pentagon Jr., that to me was the best match of the night. Puma against Mil Muertes, or as I call the Mexican Undertaker, that was a great match. So, you know, from top to bottom of Ultima Lucha, that was a great card. And as A-Track would, you know, A-Track, a shout out to A-Track, it was better than Wrestle Kingdom 9. I wanted to say that on here. Schuyler,
Get out of here.
Schuyler, what do you want to talk about with Lucha Underground?
All right. I think the thing that Lucha is looking for right now, and what they want very bad, is you're really trying to score this Netflix deal, which apparently is up there. It's nothing like it's maybe next week or something, but they're really in a tight negotiation, and somebody's going to grab that. And I think a company like a Netflix would rather take a Lucha Underground than a Ring of Honor than a TNA, because it has something different than regular wrestling, and by having those TV qualities, almost a soap opera type of thing, would bring in a different kind of fan. You have your wrestling fan, and then maybe the girlfriend or something would watch it where she wouldn't before. But I kind of like these stories that are going, because you're just, and the thing is, and it's only an hour long.
Yeah,
you know, you're not divesting 3 hours of your life like Raw every week. And like you said, the storylines are concise. They make sense. They don't change from week to week, where all of a sudden the character is completely, you know, they've been building something up for 3 months, and then all of a sudden next week, like none of it happened. You were supposed to forget about it. You know, they don't insult your intelligence. And the wrestling is top notch, and their production is good. AAA, unfortunately, as I heard, I didn't get to see it, and I'm glad I didn't. Had a horrible pay-per-view experience with Triple Mania this year. And they said it's they may wind up refunding almost every single person that bought the paper.
Yeah, it was a bad audio experience for a lot of consumers in America. Yeah, and the video feed too.
Well, I have a question for you guys, and I'll pose it to Billy Ray when he comes back. I don't know if you guys discussed it again. You know, some of us are dads, and we have to take care of our boys and daughters. But the question I'm gonna propose to you, I'll wait till Billy Ray puts on his headset. The question I'm proposing to you guys is, now Lucha Underground is a really good product, and it kind of showed that this Mexican style wrestling can be successful, especially with the production value that they're putting forth here in the United States. Why do they not bring an English version of AAA to American television, and why don't they take that guy, I forgot his name, the guy that's supposed to be the I guess
Hugo Savinovich, you mean?
Right. Why don't they bring him into AAA, and why don't they just move that product into AAA and just make it like a global or an American kind of TV show?
What they were doing is they're testing the waters. They were like putting their foot in, their little toe in, to see how the water is over here in the United States. And
what do you think?
Well, I mean, they're a long way off. I don't know if that'll succeed here in the United States yet, especially with that Triple Mania debacle that happened. I don't think that's going to do them any favors in the great scheme of things. As far as the wrestling goes, I don't know if it'll translate. I really don't. Not right away, anyway. Like
no pun intended. Translate anybody? No. All right.
I think their best bet is to stick with Lucha Underground and keep sneaking their way into the American market little by little that way. I don't think the United States is ready for AAA.
Just like
Donald Trump's not ready.
No, just like Happy Gilmore, very sneaky.
Yeah.
Anybody, Professor? Do you have any closing thoughts about Lucha Underground and Mexican wrestling?
Well, I hope there's going to be a second season, but as I heard from the reports, that this season cost them $20 million to make. So, they really need financial backing. I don't know where they're going to get it from. I heard Univision might be a partner.
That'd
They're
be great.
trying to, negotiate with them. So they really need big financial backers. And as far as trying to maybe bring AAA into America, I think for the Mexican wrestling fans, that's a great idea because you can take over California, New Mexico, around those regions. But maybe for the casual fan across America who remember WCW, there was a big stain because of WCW and the cruiserweights.
Right.
As good as it was in late 95, early 96 with the style and how fast it was, by 99 it became a joke. So maybe a lot of fans just are not as interested in that, in the luchadors like that.
Not a
That's
big
just
Lash.
I think
Not a
by
big
90,
Lash LaRue fan.
I think by 99 it became a joke because WCW was a joke. It wasn't on the cruiserweights. Those guys are top notch, man. In the ring, it's just amazing, amazing.
But when you lose the fans, Billy Ray, it just, you lose the product.
I mean, when you have a pinata on a freaking pole match, I mean, that's the end of your division.
that's the booking. That has nothing to do with the talent.
Right. All right. So I don't want to spend any more time on this. I mean, the state of lucha wrestling at this point in juncture is what it has been for the last few decades. It's very popular with the South American fans. It's starting to gain a little traction with the American fans. It's great wrestling. And I think you all agree that for pure wrestling fans, it's a really good watch. But for someone who loves the commentary, so on and so forth, it may not work. So I mean, maybe they may want to, like Billy Ray was saying, they're testing the waters here in the United States. I think they created somewhat of a buzz. I'd be interested to see where AAA or just Mexican or lucha wrestling, let's just put it, not just Mexican wrestling, lucha wrestling, will go from here on out. But I want to quickly move on, and I don't want to spend too much time on this because I want to move into WWE, and then we're going to close out. Listen, I'm going to start off with the Professor. He is wearing a Bullet Club shirt. So let's talk a little bit of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Let's make this about a 5-minute segment if possible. And then we're going to move on to NXT and WWE, and we'll close out. So, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Professor, where do you see them? And do you think they are, in fact, the #2 company in this place we call Earth?
They should be, and they are the #2 company in the world, right behind WWE. New Japan, making deals in America with, I believe, what is it, Access TV, to be on, to showcase their best of programming. I wish I got Access TV, but I have Comcast and I don't have it, so shame on me. But whatever. But New Japan is making moves here and there. Giving the talents to ROH, giving the talent to NXT with Jushin Liger for the upcoming NXT Takeover show. So New Japan is has a lot of momentum going their way, and right now they're having their G1 Climax tournament right now, and hopefully maybe AJ Styles will take this one. We need a Gaijin to win this
Yes,
this year.
sir, Bill Schuyler.
New Japan Pro Wrestling is without a doubt #2 promotion globally behind the WWE, and they're not close to the WWE on a global faction. I mean, I wouldn't try to say that they are, but they're growing quick, and they're. I would expect to see a New Japan regular, a newer product on television probably sooner than you would a Lucha program, because they just it's more of a Lucha is very complicated. Not to get back into that too much, but it's more complicated than Japanese wrestling or typical American wrestling is, and I think that's always been the problem. But New Japan they got their own network already, following the model of the WWE. A-Track is I believe he has that, and he's talked about that numerous times on The Hustle and elsewhere. But New Japan is just phenomenal, and they don't have a problem putting over outside, Gaijin Town, as you said. Their biggest faction they've had ever right now is the Bullet Club, and they're just unstoppable. I don't see New Japan going anywhere but up, up, and up. Their stock's just going to go through the roof this upcoming year. I can't wait for Wrestle Kingdom. That's all I have to say.
Lou? Billy Ray?
So, all right. So, it's the de facto number 2 company in the world. I love New Japan, by the way, before I get into this. I love New Japan. They pose absolutely no threat to the WWE. So, therefore, what I mean as a number 2, that we need a number 2, we need a company that's going to give the WWE a run for their money, and that does not exist on this planet as of now. G1, AJ Styles is gone. Tanahashi has won his block. He beat AJ Styles actually in a great match. It was freaking amazing. If anybody wants to watch it,
and just really quickly, just so you know, we're recording this 8/14/2015.
Yeah, by the time you guys watch this, the tournament may be over. But the finalist right now is Tanahashi. He won his block. They both kicked out of their own moves. Tanahashi put AJ Styles on the Styles Clash, and AJ Styles kicked out. And then AJ Styles hit Tanahashi with I forget the name of his frog splash that he does. He has a particular name for it, but I forget it. And he kicked out. But ultimately, excellent match. The G1's been great so far. The B block hasn't been decided as of right now. Okada's in the lead of that. It's a point system. Okada's leading, and he's facing Nakamura. And if Nakamura beats him, they will be tied in the points, but Nakamura will advance if he wins because he won a previous match between them. So he would move on, and I think that's what the finals are going to be, is Nakamura versus Tanahashi. Nakamura is the favorite to win the tournament. Okay, if Okada wins and not Nakamura, they can do a whole this is a de facto Royal Rumble type thing. Whoever wins the G1 gets a world title shot. So between both of them, Tanahashi can win, and then Okada can beat him at Wrestle Kingdom if that's what they're leading at. As far as the company itself, it's awesome. New Japan is great wrestling, but they're not, like I said before, they're not going to threaten the WWE in any way. The Access TV deal that they have is old matches. They're old. Everything is old on that. There's nothing new. New Japan World isn't really doing really well. I wanted to do well. You guys should go get it after we get done with this. I'm watching the G1. It's gonna be amazing. Like, I mean, it's a little bit less than WWE Network. New Japan is great, but are they gonna make an impact here in the United States? Probably not.
All right, very cool, very cool. But as it is, Japanese wrestling. What do you think the state of Japanese wrestling is? And I'm including New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm including Wrestle One over there, not OneWrestling.com, but Wrestle One, and the other Japanese organizations over there. Let's really quickly go around the table with the professor first.
Well, fans love strong style. I mean, strong style's here to stay. So, New Japan does it, Noah does it. So, it's here to stay for the hardcore wrestling fans. They love that style, and they will find a way to watch it.
Schuyler?
Japan is always the go-to for purists, and just nothing but open skies for them.
All right, and Billy Ray?
Well, I think there's a couple of promotions struggling over there. I know All Japan is in really bad shape. Noah is in pretty bad shape, but New Japan is trying to help them out. Dragon Gate is what it is over there. The promotion that the Great Muta is running is what it is over there. I think New Japan needs to develop new stars. I think they need to develop a guy like Kota Ibushi. I think they need to develop Shibata. And if I have to judge by this tournament, they're not doing it. I don't know why Kota Ibushi is not in the semifinals of this tournament. I don't know why.
And how do you say his name?
Ibushi Kota! That's how they say it. But ultimately, I mean, I would say wrestling in Japan is in a better position than overall wrestling in the United States because, you know what? I can't even say that. I don't know. I think New Japan is doing well. I don't know about everybody else.
All right. Now, obviously, we can't touch base on every single organization, every independent organization. We just kind of picked what we thought was the most important, guys. Again, before we jump into NXT and WWE, we want you to leave your comments below here again at OneWrestling.com or YouTube /OneWrestlingVideo or on Twitter. Follow us at OneWrestling. Now, here we go, guys. SummerSlam is right around the corner, depending on when you're watching this, and it is going to be a huge SummerSlam weekend. I mean, I said this a year ago, and I got a little heat off of this, but I'm going to go back and say I told you so. SummerSlam is right on par with WrestleMania. It is the WrestleMania of the summer. It is the second biggest pay-per-view in the WWE, and I would say the second biggest pay-per-view in the world. SummerSlam. I said it a year ago. People laughed at me.
I remember.
And ha!
And you were right.
I want to freeze this.
I kind of wonder why you got heat over something that's true.
I'm still freezing.
Because it's SummerSlam. You're going to get heat. I had to say it. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Feel the heat.
All right. Anyway, enough with the freezing. So, all right, guys. Let's really quickly focus. All right, Professor, only I can freeze. It's the whole Zach Morris thing. You know how Zach Morris, everybody freezes, and I am the opposite. So, I freeze. You just keep moving around. So, now we have NXT in Brooklyn, which is going to be dope. NXT, they're going to have Finn Balor. Finn Balor defending his NXT title versus Mr. KO himself, Kevin Owens. That's going to be pretty dope. You're going to have Bayley going for the NXT, what do you call it, Divas Championship or Women's Championship?
Women's title.
Women's titles, as it should be.
Absolutely.
And a plethora of other great matches. Baron Corbin finally getting his first huge test versus Samoa Joe, the Samoan submission machine, I guess you call him. There's going to be a hell of a lot of great matches. And what are my boys, Bill Schuyler, since you're wearing the NXT shirts, the guys that call everybody SAWFT.
Enzo.
Love those guys.
And Big Cass, because he's 7 foot tall and you
Can't teach that. I love it. I love NXT. Now, I'm going to ask you guys a question, and I'm going to start off with Bill Schuyler. And we've had this discussion off air, and we've had this discussion on The Hustle. Is NXT an independent promotion?
Nope.
Okay,
so they are modeled on. They are a corporate version of an independent promotion, and they've done like any major television network. May have took some small little show from some small TV station out in the middle of nowhere back in the day when they used to do things like that for television. There was no cable before, for you kids out there that don't know about that.
Yeah.
But they would take something like that, basically steal that idea from them, throw it on a national thing with a bunch of money, with a bigger name star, lights, boom, all of a sudden, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Although the same guys were wrestling 2 blocks from your house or from work every month for the past 8 years, and you wouldn't go for a $25 ticket, or even maybe a $10 or $15 ticket. But now you're going to go to NXT. It gets on television. It's got the lights. It's got the glitz. It's got the superstars that come there. It's been legitimized by the WWE's corporate version of an indie promotion, and that gets in a lot of people's craw. And you know what? If the product sucked, I wouldn't back it. But I've been with them since day one, and they don't disappoint me.
So moving, well, I'm going to ask you another question, Bill Schuyler, since you're the NXT guy, and then we'll move on to the Professor and Billy Ray. Who do you think? I'm going to give you my opinion on who I think the next big star to come up from there should be. And who do you think should be the next big star? I'll give my opinion first. I've been watching NXT on and off. First and foremost, I got to say it's a shame that Sami Zayn got hurt.
Yes.
That he hasn't been on TV. He was supposed to be brought up to the roster. Well, he technically did get brought up to the roster and did with that freak injury during the John Cena match. That really sucks. But the guy that interests me the most, the only thing is, I think he sucks on the mic, is Baron Corbin. Big dude, phenomenal. He's like a 6'8" CM Punk almost. Not as good technically in the ring, but I love his finisher. The End of Days. I think it's one of the best finishers in NXT. That's my singles wrestler, and of course Enzo Amore and Big Cass, my favorite tag team right now. You know, my favorite tag team guys used to be the guys from TNA. What do they call the Bad Influence? But I got to tell you, these guys, they're just charismatic, and I see Kaz getting, I don't know if you notice, he's getting a little more muscle on him. He's getting a little thicker, a little bigger. That was one of the things I wasn't too sure about. And Enzo Amore, Peter Rosenberg I was talking to him not too long ago, and he was telling me that this guy is just like the best person on earth. That he's just like a great guy, and the only worry I have, Bill, is will that translate over to the WWE crowd if they come over? Will that get, will it get boring quick with their gimmick, and then we'll move on to Professor and Billy Ray.
As far as they've never been the greatest technical wrestlers in the ring, and they don't have to be because they just had charisma from the beginning. I don't know how they wound hooked up together, who designed that, if it was by accident or what, but they're perfect. I mean, the guys just run it off each other constantly live. Both of them are great on the stick, and the crowd just eats them up. And I think if you put that on the big show and you really back them up and don't leave them hanging and, just drop them after like 2 weeks and think, it didn't work. You got to keep behind them and push them. I think the crowd would be huge for them, and I think merchandise would be massive, and they'd be baby faces forever. To make them bad guys would be pointless.
All right, really quickly, I'm going to move on to Professor really quickly. Who do you think comes up next, Professor, if you had a choice? And who do you think should be the next superstar to come up out of NXT?
Well, it's got to be the NXT champion, Finn Balor, I think. He's ready. I mean, the demon is there. I mean, he has the look, the appeal. I've always thought, from what I see on NXT, he doesn't really need to say much because I think that would show his flaws with the way he cuts promos a little bit. I think if he polishes on his promos, he's the total package. No pun intended with Lex Luger, but he's right there. He's almost ready, and you can. I always would say this about NXT, and I want to use the old Saturday Night Live formula. There's a lot of comedians out there that are ready to go to Hollywood, but you don't want to have your whole cast go to Hollywood because then it makes your products very bad. So if you send Finn Balor to Hollywood, or i.e. Stamford, Connecticut, you still need a strong cast in NXT to keep the ship running. So, one here and one there is fine, but you still need a strong cast to keep NXT going.
Billy Ray, the state of NXT, and who do you think should come up?
Well, I've been a big fan of Finn Balor, Prince Devitt, since New Japan.
Who's Prince Devitt?
It's Finn Balor.
Oh.
He's Prince Devitt. He was amazing in New Japan. He had incredible matches with Davey Richards. Go look him up. For the Best of the Super Juniors tournaments. Just amazing. He's just an amazing talent.
Wasn't he the leader of some faction over there?
I don't know what you're talking about. The Professor's not wearing a shirt that says Bullet Club on it.
Bullet something or other?
Mr. Freeze. Anyway, so check it out, man. Yeah, if they're going to bring anybody up, they should bring him up. They should bring up Tyler Breeze, too. He's been down there for way too long.
Yes.
And I think they have more than enough talent down there to support these guys coming up to the main roster. The main roster can use these guys. Sami Zayn as well. I'd love to see them up there. I mean, we still got Uha Nation, Apollo Crews. Samoa Joe was going to be probably an NXT lifer. They have talent in NXT to keep them afloat. So, yeah, man, NXT is great. Is NXT an indie promotion? No, it's not. Don't be fooled. You can't sign an NXT contract. You have to sign a WWE contract to get into NXT. What indie promotion have you ever seen fill up the Barclays Center, 13,000 people? It's not going to happen. Unheard of. You want to know why? That's because NXT is not an indie promotion. Get it out of your head. It's the WWE. Okay?
Very, very good. Now, Bill Scott, I'm going to let you close this out with the state of NXT wrestling.
And I'll give you my pick for a next major superstar to come out, and Billy mentioned him real quick right there. And I made a bold statement today on the Twitter machine.
Twitter.
And was as some people were not being too kind to Apollo Crews.
Really?
More towards the WWE's version of him, maybe. And
Okay.
I made the statement and put it out there that I think he is going to be the next or the first Black WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
That is a
He is
bold
gonna be-
prediction.
He is and mark it down.
Yeah,
Look at
let's exactly.
Okay.
I've seen him live myself. I've met him a couple times. He is phenomenal in the ring. He's like 260, 6'1". He does a standing shooting star press. He does his finisher. He does like a gorilla drop slam with a standing moonsault, and then he does the shooting star press. He flies over the top rope. I mean, and he could talk on the microphone. I think if they get behind him, and I could see somebody like Triple H getting behind a guy like him, because the guy's a gym rat. He's massive, and you get the right push, and a guy like that, and he's got the charisma. I don't know if anybody's fans of Yuha, on the indies, but if you've seen him, you had to admire him, and that's my pick. It's not going to be this year, obviously. He's 27. I say by the time he's 30, he will be holding the gold.
Oh, wow. So you're saying in 3 years?
3 years time.
Wow.
All right, I'm gonna digress. In the words of Andre Corbeil, that's an excellent pick. Uha Nation. I
like it, Bill.
I like it too. And yes, guys, Bill Schuyler. Don't throw at me Mark Henry. Don't throw at me King Booker. Sucker. Don't throw at me The Rock. Uha Nation, or I'm sorry, what is it now? Apollo Crews, or Terry Crews Jr.
Terry Crews Jr.
Will be the first black WWE World Heavyweight Champion, a title that I always felt that JYD could have held, but again, that's a story for another day. To steal Bill's line, let's now finish up with the granddaddy of them all, the WWE, moving into SummerSlam, moving into WrestleMania season. We are in the midway point, basically, just beyond the midway point of the WWE of the wrestling, let's just say season, if there is a season, and WrestleMania is right around the corner. So the state of the WWE. Now we have Brock Lesnar, we have Seth Rollins. In my opinion, one of the worst booked champions in the history of the WWE, one of the weakest champions booked wise the WWE has ever had. You have a lot. You have a new, like a revitalized, let's say, tag team division. You have guys like the Wyatt family. I guess they're growing. Apparently, there's a new member that's coming very soon. You have Sting still in the rafters, waiting to be called down to possibly face the Undertaker or someone else. Apparently, they told him to go home. We don't need you for SummerSlam. This pay-per-view, unless that's a swerve, and I think it's a swerve. But I'm gonna start with Billy Ray. Billy Ray, the state of the WWE and where you think this company is going.
WWE has a ridiculous amount of talent. Okay, as far as the state goes, I mean, they're healthy, right? You can't say otherwise. I think they should do away with the third hour of Raw, but that's never going to happen because they're seeing tons of money come in from that. Brock Lesnar's a beast. I mean, look at the future for the WWE for Raw. We got Finn Balor, we got Sami Zayn. I mean, come on. I mean, I'm sure they could find a way to screw it up because they're doing it with Kevin Owens. But, I mean, as far as wrestling goes, the state of the WWE is a healthy state. And that's all the WWE really cares about is them being healthy as an entity, not exactly everyone else. But it's healthy. They have a ton of talent. I can't wait for SummerSlam to watch Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker. I think that's going to be awesome. I think Seth Rollins and John Cena are going to put on a classic. I think John Cena is doing his best work I've ever seen him do in his entire career.
Agreed.
The guy is on another level. Whether you like him or not, you got to respect him. And he's going to be around for a long time. I think they're finally doing something with the Divas, even though I would like to see it done a little bit differently. I would like to see the Divas name go away and turn into the women's division yet again. and maybe give these people singles pushes instead of having them in teams and not explaining it. That's the biggest issue with the WWE. They think people are just dumb, that they're not following storylines, or they're not paying attention to these things. They just insert whatever they want whenever they want and just expect you to go along with the story. Just completely. There is no continuity in the WWE, or rarely, and that's the biggest issue with them. But that being said, we're all going to continue to subscribe to the network, because it's a hell of a deal, regardless, and all the indie wrestlers are going to aspire to, and New Japan, all over the world, are going to aspire to go to the WWE, the number one, the cream of the crop. That's just the way it is, and it will continue to be that way for a long time.
All right, Schuyler, then the professor. Schuyler?
WWE, you can disagree with the way they book things, the way they may handle certain things, but business-wise, they're at the top. They're the pinnacle of the business. There's nobody that's coming to take that away. That only was going to happen one time, and they blew it. And back in the day with WCW, because they just made a mistake and actually made Vince angry. And when he was almost ready to basically fold it in. But that's another story for another day. But WWE is just phenomenal. I agree with John Cena right now is at another level than he's ever been. Not that he's, you can hate on him all you want. They're only going to let a guy be who they want him to be when you're the number one guy for their company. But his losing the title and being that U.S. champion this whole last year, everything has just he's, like they say, he's the first guy in, the last one to leave. He is the model employee, and I don't think John's going to be around for years to come.
I don't think so either.
I think John Cena is looking to make his exit, and he wants to go out big and on top.
Well, isn't he in a mainstream movie coming up?
That's what I'm hearing. Yeah,
Right,
and there's more to come. He's apparently finally getting that kind of nod where he's going to make that move. I don't think he's not going to be Dwayne success.
Nobody is.
But you won't see that again for years. But the company itself, this is going to be the last time. These guys are going now. You're going to have that whole generation of wrestlers are done, and now it's all the new guys coming up. And like you say, it's a shame with Seth Rollins, the cowardly heel character that they built him in originally. You got to be able to turn that at times to let the guy be a badass and not to be a punk every single week, which is what he is. He's got two guys. It's been a bad booking situation for him. Kind of similar, we talked about Magnus, how they booked him horribly as TNA champion. Same thing. He couldn't win a match on his own. And the talent, you just can't. From the newest guy they got in the company to the oldest guy, you can't beat them on television or in a pay-per-view. Not going to happen. A SummerSlam, huge. It's going to be a massive weekend.
And just so you know, the movie is Trainwreck. That's it's a comedy that's going to be coming out.
That's been out.
Did it already come out?
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's a train wreck because I didn't know.
No. Actually, man,
it's doing well.
It was funny, and John Cena was great in it.
Was he really?
He was awesome.
Was he Dwayne Johnson-esque?
I don't think. Hey, to each his own.
He was playing the gym rat.
I don't think The Rock is a great actor. I love The Rock. I just don't think he's great.
Oh, it's the charisma.
John Cena was pretty good, man. He was pretty decent in this.
I gotta check it out. So, Professor, what is your opinion on the state of professional wrestling, sir, here in the WWE?
The state of the number one company in the world is the only enemy for WWE is themselves. When it comes to bookings, the writers, and the direction. And when I say that, it's just when Vince McMahon has his ways, he has his ideas. Sometimes we can all agree here, he's a little out of touch with his ideas. When it comes to booking maybe Seth Rollins or maybe holding on to John Cena and not letting some of the talent like Kevin Owens, as people would say, go up to the next level. So I guess that's what I'm trying to say with the enemy is themselves when it comes to booking and Vince McMahon. And hopefully, when, I hate to say this, maybe Triple H gets a little bit more power, maybe more direction, because I really think that Triple H understands the game of wrestling, and he knows that the crop of guys that he has in NXT that can influx into the main roster. And, you don't have to always turn it into a whole professional wrestling 3 hours, because, you need a little bit of sports entertainment. You need to filter in and sprinkle in the right areas. But as long as the booking has a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of entertainment, WWE will be fine.
All right, I mean, we can go into WrestleMania, SummerSlam predictions and everything like that, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to save that for the Can-Am Wrestling Show with me and Andre Corbeil. But more or less, I mean, look, right now the WWE is a well-oiled machine. They make money hand over fist. They have great superstars like John Cena, and I don't care what anyone says, John Cena is the heart and soul of that damn company, because guess what? He will be the 16-time World Heavyweight Champion.
17 too.
I'm sorry?
He will be 17 as well.
He will break that record that Ric Flair holds. John Cena, WWE, Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, Triple H. I mean, again, we can sit here and talk about Brock Lesnar. We can sit here and talk about Seth Rollins. We can sit here and talk about the whole array of tag teams and so on and so forth. But right now, like Billy Ray was saying and like everybody was saying, there is no number 2 viable company. There is no WCW to face or to actually kind of kick off or maybe even confront or scare the WWE at this point in juncture. WWE is in a state of euphoria when it comes to being the number 1 company in professional wrestling. They are the cream of the crop, like Billy Ray said. They are the best of the best. It is what it is. I don't even have to waste my breath talking about what's going on, because guess what? Until that global farce type company comes up and kind of challenges WWE, WWE will always be the king of the castle. So do you have anything to close with, guys, before we go bye-bye?
I do want to say one thing, as opposed when it relates to WWE. One thing we need to look at, and not too long ago somebody told me about this, and I didn't think it was a reality. I didn't think it was a possibility, but more and more I think about it, and the more I see signs of stuff, it really is. We need to really start looking at the whole McMahon family selling the WWE. That's a possibility, bro. It really is. It really is.
Know.
Stephanie McMahon has been selling shares of her shares of the company left and right. I mean, a lot. And ultimately, Vince McMahon has always tried to do something outside of wrestling. He tried the XFL. He had record labels. He had Ico Pro. He was never satisfied with just wrestling. And I think his ultimate payoff might be selling the WWE to Disney, selling it to NBC.
Could you imagine?
I can imagine it, and that would be the end of pro wrestling as we know it. And it's a possibility, and I think it's something we should all keep in our heads. It could really happen. I didn't think it was possible, but more and more I keep thinking about it, and McMahon's track record and what he's done in the past, and I think it'll be his greatest accomplishment to sell it all for billions of dollars or whatever he gets for it, and he'll ride off into the sunset or just get his family altogether out of the business.
Professor.
Wow, what a way to follow up on that one.
There is no way.
I mean, for Vince McMahon, I agree with you, Billy Ray. Maybe that's another out-the-box thing, to sell the WWE. But you know what? Vince McMahon wants to have WrestleMania on the moon first before he sells WrestleMania. So once he does something on the moon, then we could talk about him selling WWE stock.
Or Uranus.
Oh, boy.
That's a planet. Anyway, Bill Schuyler, why don't you give your closing thoughts on WWE?
There's nothing more you can really say, and you just blew my mind with that, Billy Ray. Don't say stuff like that. That's too corporate.
Sacrilege.
That's been bought out by Disney, and Disney owns enough.
I can't take credit for that. I've heard it. Many people are echoing it. Like Court Bauer, John Pollock, all these people have spoken about it, and the more and more I think about it, man, it's very, very possible.
Oh my gosh, you know what? That could be a discussion. Bill Schuyler.
Yeah, that's mind blowing.
It's a discussion down the road for another day. Come on, man, your taglines, dude.
You're right. Sorry,
brother. But I mean, regarding Bill Schuyler, the WWE, do you feel that so far so good? They're moving forward. Do you see any decline, anything before we close this out, buddy?
No, there's no decline. They're just moving forward and up, and just there's nothing more for them except bigger and better things. They're not going to fall back. I can't, barring some crazy, in this to happen. There's no way that company could just drop out and die.
Well, I'm going to give my closing thoughts on the WWE, and like I said, the WWE is the best of the best, the #1 company in pro wrestling, and Billy Ray Valentine did also just blow my mind in thinking that John Cena could possibly face Mickey Mouse in a retirement match. Ladies and gentlemen, I say this every single time. I would do this for a living, but if I can, I would do it anyway. Why? Because I love talking wrestling. Thank you for joining us here at OneWrestling.com, YouTube /OneWrestling video for our thoughts on the state of professional wrestling as it is today. Ladies and gentlemen, you can follow us on Twitter at OneWrestling. Follow me on Twitter at Big Ray Show. Follow Billy Ray Valentine at Billy Ray Hustle. Follow Bill Schuyler at You Got the Show, and follow the professor at Prof, Prof, Prof PW Hustle. I'm not going to spell it out. It's right down here, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, don't forget to follow Andre at Andre_Corbeil. Bill Apter, the legendary Bill Apter at After One Wrestling. And don't forget to buy his book. Again, is Wrestling Fix I Didn't Know Was Broken. Go to your Amazon bookstore, guys. I'm just really excited. Again, I'm going to be at the book signing, and apparently Bill Apter, I got a mention in his book, and I was touched by it. I can't wait to read it. I can't wait to be there for his official book signing in October, guys. If you have any questions, you can direct tweet me. You can direct tweet Bill Apter. But all the information will be on the website as soon as possible. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. We do this, like I said, once a year or twice a year, and probably, God willing, if we're still on this green earth, we'll be doing it sometime in December as the new year approaches. Ladies and gentlemen, we are out. Everybody, say goodbye.
Bye-bye. Peace.
Peace.
God
Thank
bless.
you, guys. God bless you. Peace.
See yous.
And we're